Okay. Well, that's great, Nirvana, that you have studied it in your A levels. Well, comparatively, the course would be easier for you. I've also taught A levels business studies. That was quite a long time ago, but more or less the I remember the basics of the subject. More or less the topics would seem similar to you in some aspects. I mean, the major areas that we will study that will be the same, like organizational structure, marketing, HR, production, things like that. But obviously, the focus of business and technology is to prepare you for the ACCA papers. And the focus of A level business studies is to give you a general guideline of what is business and its environment. Uh, why I explain this to my students who have already studied business studies beforehand is that sometimes they would like say that when I'm teaching the content, they would say that we have already studied it. But you see, the basic uh, paper pattern that I'll describe in a while, you would see it is very different from that of the business studies. I'm sure the same if you have done the same business studies, if there is no other such variant, I'm sure not. So all of three papers, or I think now it's four papers, but those are theory-based papers. But in AFD and BT, we have MCQs-based papers. So the technique is different. However, that skill that you have developed in answering the paper, like understanding the basic terms, analyze, evaluate, that will help you, but in later skills level. Okay, so just to assure you that the content that we study, you will be able to easily grasp it, but you will have to be attentive and focus more on your MCQs attempting side. So I hope that that's clear to you. Okay. Uh, for the rest of the students, I will like do not be alarmed that if there is a student who has already studied it, and my teaching will be with the view that even the student who has not covered any thing about business environment or organizational environment, most of you, usually the students who come to this area, they have studied some bit of science or computer science or things like that, and they have no awareness. So we will start from the very scratch, from the very basics, and that is the requirement of the course as well. Like the first chapter, the business organization, it gives us a general idea of what an organization is, and from there on, we will go forth. So you do not need to worry about that at all. Okay. Any one of you who is currently at a job, working somewhere? Anyone? Yes or no? If yes, then what kind of a job do you have? Okay, that's good. That's good. Audit associate. That's great. So, and junior auditor. Excellent. So that's good. But here again, remember that when we are studying theory, uh, things that are available in the theory that may not be exactly reflected in the real world environment. Obviously, these are to form the basics for you. So when we are teaching, for example, in BT level, there will be the topic of internal controls and audit. So when I'm teaching that and you already are working as a junior auditor, you will see it like if you are teaching addition and subtraction to grade 10 student. For you, it will be like that. But remember, there are other students who have no knowledge about what is audit, so I have to take care of them as well. But in the meanwhile, you will have an important role to play. You could bring in very good examples from the your practical environment, and that will help us and help other students as well. So it's the first batch rather that has two people who are already working in the audit. That's a great opportunity for all of us to learn from you as well. That's great. Okay. All right. No one else is working, so you are full time. And yes, when you are working somewhere and along with that, studying could be a tough routine, but I'm sure that you will make it if you have a proper study schedule. And remember, we have a lot of time. So from day one, if you start working on your timetable, whether if you give only half an hour in the beginning, half an hour to each subject, I'm sure you will make through. But that consistency is the key. Remember that. Okay. Um, I think we can start with the basic introduction of the subject and the paper, as many students have joined now. I'll in the beginning I'll go take you through the basic structure of this subject, how the paper will be attempted, what is the structure of the paper, and different the main key points or main strategies that I recommend for you to follow. Um in all of the previous years' experience, I have given different tips and tricks to the students to prepare for the examination and specific key points for attempting MCQs. And I assure you that if you follow the guidelines to the maximum, you will definitely, paper passing is no problem at all, but I assure you will get above 70% marks as well. In the recent examination, we had two students from Hamzah Academy. One has taken above 70%, and the other is around like that as well. And even today, some of the students who have appeared where I teach physically these classes, today one student achieved 81% marks, and the other also achieved 76% marks. So the subject in itself is not difficult. Do not take it like it is a rather a big subject. The content is a lot. Like we have about 24 chapters in the Kaplan book that we will study. And when you compare it with the other subjects at the AFD level, for example, financial accounting one or management accounting one, you may think that it may seem quite overwhelming because the number of chapters are almost double to that of FA1 or MA1. But remember, if you collectively look at those subjects, FA1, MA1, FA1 and FA2 collectively, and MA1, MA2 collectively, then this is almost equal to that. So don't worry about that. Okay, now I will start with the basics. And before starting the actual chapter, I'll give you a break. And then if you have any questions on that, you are most welcome to ask. Rather, you can ask any questions anytime, but that would be the better time because maybe some of the questions that arise in your mind, I have already cleared them during my discussion. Okay. So, first thing first, this is your overall description or a summarized form as recommended by ACCA. What do they say about what BT is about and what are the success factors that you may have? Now, business and technology, it is a as it is a foundation level subject, it creates or it builds a strong foundation for you in which not only you will be able to understand what a business environment or organizational environment is, what are its different areas, what are its different aspects, what are the different factors that affect the working of an organization or a business. Uh, but at the same time, it also builds a foundation for the future subjects. Time and again during the subject, I will tell you that this is the requirement of BT, and after that, you will study this topic in that subject or that subject. This is because this lays you a foundation for you, after which every other subject will be rooted from this. For example, in your skills level, you will have law. So there are certain areas which are linked to that. In your skills level, you will have taxation, performance management, things like that. So the basis is formed here. So this is very, very important. Another important area that you should remember is ACCA, the ultimate goal of ACCA. What is this syllabus designed to do? It's not to make you just an accountant. It is for making executives, to develop people to hold the executive position, the top leading position of the organization. This is the whole purpose of ACCA. It's not just to tell you about the bookkeeping and how the records are maintained and financial records only. No, it is actually, this is one part of it, yes, but this is not the only part. It is designed to make you think strategically. How would you run the whole organization? How will you be effective in a leading position? So you should aim higher. It is your um, sort of, you could say that would be the final objective. With this in view, this will be in your career. Obviously, when you have completed your ACCA, apart from the some of those who have already jumped ship and who are already ahead and working in different organizations, those who are not, who are only focusing on their studies, when you go on for your internships and your trainings, you will start from the very lower portion, lower areas, but gradually you will have the knowledge and the skill, and you will have greater chances of excelling in the organization, whether you want to run your own organization or you're working for somebody else. But the basic target is to take you to the higher levels or the executive level, to make you leaders in the organizational context. So keep that in mind. These subjects are not, or why do I tell you this? The reason is that not just think in terms of understanding the subject just to pass the paper. That is, do not take your target to be 50 or 51% marks only. No. If you do that, fine. But with that intention, what students actually do when they think that I just have to pass this, I do not want to aim for 70 or 80%. Why I'm saying 70, 80%? Because this is theory, all theory, mostly 99% theory. So it is difficult to get marks in the theory. For financial accounting and management accounting, you can easily get above 90% even if you work hard. So 70% and 80% are good marks for business and technology, but 50% are the passing marks. Sometimes students may say that, tell me that, sir, why are you pushing so much? 50% is the mark. We just pass the paper. What that mentality takes you to? It automatically makes you think which topics are more important, or which topics will be studied more in the paper, or checked more in the paper, and then you prepare only those. Whereas I told you, this is the foundation for the future paper, as well as it is a foundation for your executive position in the organization, in the practical life, in the real life, in your professional career. Now, for example, if you think that there is a topic, suppose taxation, types of it, or finance, you say that I cannot understand it, and let's leave it. Let's guess how many questions could be from there. I can manage it because I just have to pass with 50% marks. This is a wrong mentality, totally wrong mentality. Do not focus on only 50% marks. Okay, what should I do then? This is what we are here for. If you have any problem in your any of the topics, any of the areas, you ask the teacher. This is your right. This is our duty. So that is what you are paying for. If like you could do it all by yourself, what are we getting paid for? So this is your right. Remember that. If any time you do not understand anything, you may ask me 10 times, 100 times, sir, please repeat it. I'll give you different types of examples, and I will make sure that you understand that topic. Later on, as this the first class is usually a test class, later on, when you have ensured your selection for the paper, then Hamzah Academy creates WhatsApp group, and then I will be available on the WhatsApp group as well. So once a week, when we have gone through our classes, and then you sit and then you study, and during your study, when you're studying the text and the book, you do not understand something, you right away message me on the WhatsApp. Obviously, there could be the time difference, or there could be the that I'm taking all another class, but definitely I respond to the students. Now it is up to you whether you want to send a message on the WhatsApp group or individually. I prefer WhatsApp group. The reason is that maybe some other student has the same question that they are not asking. When you ask and I answer, they also get satisfied. They also get their answer. Some students are shy, which they should not be, but still WhatsApp group is a better option. Having said that, still, if you want to send me a personal message, I'll still answer your questions. I hope that will make you at a comfortable level studying with me. Okay. So this is the overview of the, we will study different areas in that. General idea of those areas is here. This is the general idea. Like, for example, there are different sections. These are broad areas. These are not the chapters. The purpose and type of business organizations, who are the stakeholders. These are actually technical jargons, business terminologies. That's why I do not usually focus more on explaining this at the moment. But you just have to understand a basic idea. We will understand the business structure. We'll understand leading and managing individuals and teams, recognizing functions of accounting, reporting systems, understanding personal effectiveness, what are expected values, behavior, and culture of the organization. So it is a holistic view, almost every aspect of the organization or business that you may come across, that will be studied in here. And with that, remember, we are not going to dig deep, very much deep into any of the topics. For example, uh, the business structure. There could be many, many variations. There so much depth for this subject, this topic. But we will study only that is requirement of the course, and that would help you for the future subjects. That's it. And that is the basic purpose of the foundation level, to make you aware of the different concepts which will be later on in higher level, skills level, and then professional level subjects that will be tested in great depth. Okay. Now, general idea, because that is first aim, the first objective for us, exam format. This is all AFD is ACCA rather is computer based, and in this paper, along with all other subjects in AFD, we will have the uh, MCQs based questioning. Time for business and technology paper is 2 hours. This is an important bit. In my uh, career, I have yet to come across a student who went into the examination hall prepared. Prepared means he has attended all the lectures, he has studied all the content as guided, he has attempted all the questions and practiced all the questions as guided. No such student I have seen yet till now who has come out of the exam hall and said that these 2 hours were not enough. This means you do not have to work a lot on your time management. If you have studied properly, time management will not be an issue. Yes, it could be an issue when your reading was not good, your comprehension was not good, and that can be developed with the with more and more practice, just like I will give you the practice. So time management at AFD level will not be an issue for you. Yes, at skills level, when you have to type your answers, that may be a problem, but for MCQs based question, it is not an issue. So do not worry about that. Structure of the paper. The paper is divided into two broad categories. One is the MCQs based question and one is the multitask questions. There are 30 MCQs, each of which has 2 marks, and that is the total of 60 marks. 16 MCQs will be that of 1 mark, and that will be 16 marks in total. These are usually application based, and these are usually the knowledge based questions. Now, the knowledge based questions means this could be usually, obviously, it is a 1 mark question, so it could be true and false. It could be one option out of three, and these are of a simpler uh, nature, not very difficult. Meaning, if you have studied the content properly, you will be able to attempt these questions fully. Application based are a bit higher level. They test your existing knowledge on a different scenario. For example, a small scenario will be given. It will be testing the concept that you have already studied in the paper. So that is that. MTQs are actually nothing but a combination of different MCQs. The only difference is that there is a bigger scenario, a long scenario given, Sorry. A longer scenario would be given, and based on that scenario, you will have two or sometimes three portions of MCQs that will be tested. One difference between these two sets is, if, for example, in these type of questions, you have sometimes they ask like 2 out of 4, choose 2 out of 4. And suppose if there are 2 marks, if you choose only one correct, you may not get marks. So you must get two correct. But if it is in the MTQ form and it says 2, you will get the fractional points. If you correct one and incorrect second, you will still get marks. So that is, it may seem like difficult to attempt MTQs, but it's actually not. Okay. Now, based on that, what is the basic exam technique that you have to follow? First thing, as I explained to you from a different perspective, that that will be helpful for you for future. Now the aspect is that of the examination technique. Do not skip any of the materials in the syllabus. I mean, we do not know from which part of the syllabus will the examiner set the paper this time, and from which part it will not. Based on our experience as a teacher, I could tell you that this area is uh, tested much more than the other. But first of all, I don't believe that is uh, it's sort of an injustice to you, because you need to study it professionally for your career as well. So if I tell you that this is a particular portion from which the examiner does not test, it is not ethically correct. Second, I cannot be sure unless and until I am the one who's setting the paper, which I am not. So I cannot tell you which part is more important, which part is not, because examiner can set from all over the syllabus. He is not bound by any one part. So you need to study all the areas equally. Okay. Now, when you are sitting for the exam, and this practice you will do for each and every test that we perform, each and every test, in each and every mock, you will have to check this. You will have to consider this. During the study and the exam, read each question very carefully. Now, this is the area where students usually make a mistake. The mistake is they read the question and it seems like an easy question. They form, it's natural, they form an answer, and then when they study the first option or the second option, they think that is the correct one and choose it, and do not read the rest of the two options. That is not a good technique, because sometimes there is only slight difference between the first and the last one, last being the correct, but you did not read it and you thought that the first one was correct. As I already told you, that there is no problem in time. 2 hours is more than enough. So what you could do, what you must do, is you read all the options and then choose your answer. Most of the time, when students come out and they have not cleared the paper, they would say this, that I did all of the questions. I did not leave any question behind. But this is the problem, that when we ask them that did you read all the options of the answers, then they are blank. This is the main cause, one of the main causes of not answering. This exam, this goes for all of the subjects, not just BT. So MCQs, the basic technique is you have to read all the options before attempting the answer. Another important tip is there is no negative marking. I mean, when there is an incorrect answer, you will not get any marks. You will not be deducted any marks from you. So when there are no negative marks, why to leave any question behind? Like, attempt all the questions. This is for your test as well. When you are attempting a test or a mock, Do not leave any question. Attempt any all of these. For example, if you when you sit for your examination, you will see that you will have a option to flag the questions. Flag means when you are not sure about a question, you flag it, like you mark it, and you move on to the next question. And at the end, you come back to the flagged question, read it again, and then you attempt it. Here, I'm going to give you a very important tip, which is psychologically tested and very, very effective. And I'll give you a reason for that as well. For example, you are now on question number 5 in your exam, and you have read the question and you think that this is from the area which I did not study very well, or you are not able to comprehend the question, it's a bit technical, you are not understanding it properly. What usually students do, they just flag it and move on, that we will come to it later on. This strategy is not very effective. I'll give you a very effective strategy. It is that you read the question completely and then you read all the options and then flag and move on. Now, what happens psychologically? You see, humans are curious by nature. Our mind has 3 levels: conscious mind, subconscious mind, and unconscious mind. Now, by the way, this trick works only if you have practiced and you have studied the content. Now, when you have read all the question and all the options, and then you flagged it, you did not choose the correct answer, you're not sure, you move on, you move forward. But your conscious mind is on the next question. Your subconscious mind, which is curious, is still trying to dig out the answer for the previous question. You don't realize it because it is in the subconscious mind, but your subconscious mind is working on that. This is how mind works. It is curious, it is stuck on that question, it is trying to find out the answer. How is it able to find? From the study and the practice that you already did. That's why I said that is the basic baseline. If you haven't studied it already, it cannot find any answer. So it is actually trying to dig out the answer from your hard drive, from your memory, without you and on realizing. Okay, what happens at the end of your paper when you come back to this flagged question? Most of the time, you will see that, oh, this is the correct answer. Why was I not able to understand it in the first place? The reason is that your subconscious mind has dug it out and presented it to you. You would realize with this an example that sometimes it happens that we are trying to remember something consciously, we're trying hard, like for example we saw somebody and we're trying to remember that person's name and we are trying hard and we cannot find it. What is this person's name? I know it, it's like here, right here, but you're not able to find it. So what do I do? Just forget about it for a while, move on and go on doing something else. And after a while, it will click. You remember it. How does that happen? Your subconscious mind is stuck over there. It is trying to dig the answer out, and most of the time it does. So it actually improves your chances of getting the right answer. But if you only read the question and move on, the brain does not have something to work with. So it cannot choose the answer for you. So these two are very, very important tips. Okay. Now, this was the basic idea. Now I'm going to take you a little bit about the uh, content where to study from. Now, basically, you have 3 areas, 3 sources from which you can study the subject. First source is the publishers, that is the BPP, Kaplan, and then your ACCA study hub. Okay. Now, at BT level, I do not recommend BPP. The language is a little bit difficult, and students get those who do not have the prior knowledge of business environment, they get confused a little bit. So at this time, I'm not going to recommend it. Between Kaplan and ACCA Study Hub, my slides are based on Kaplan book, like all the tests and paper will be on the Kaplan based. But there are certain topics which are not included in the Kaplan book. For that subjects, I've taken the material from ACCA Study Hub and put it in my slides. So you do not have to worry about it. That area will also be covered. Now, this was about the content. Now, coming to practice MCQs. During our course, I'll be taking you through the practice MCQs from the Kaplan. At the end of every chapter, we will attempt the Kaplan MCQs, which are at the end of the chapter. But during the chapter, when you study, that will be your homework. You will be doing that. Again, if you have any questions in any of the questions, you may ask me over the WhatsApp group. That's not an issue. The ACCA Study Hub, that is for revision time, because the Study Hub questions are a little bit higher level than Kaplan. That's good practice, but not at this time. At this time, you will do your Kaplan work. And along with it, we will perform KIT MTQs. In addition to that, now, this is when our course ends. During the course, we will have 3 tests plus 1 mock at the end of the course. Now, when the course has ended, the classes are over. I will still be available with you up until you have attempted your paper. Don't worry about it. But at the end, when our revision starts, I will give you 5 sets of MCQs. These will be Google-based quiz links I've prepared. These will have questions from Kaplan, from BPP, and from some past papers, and some I have made myself. These will be chapter based. Suppose in set 1, I will give you from chapter 1 to 5, then 6 to 10, so on and so forth. So you do not need to worry about the MCQ practice from BPP. That will be covered over here. After that, I will give you, with that, you will also have the ACCA Study Hub questions and revision. You will practice from that on the hub as well. That you can click over there, attempt, answer, submit, and it will give you the answers right away. Still, in that you have any questions, you may please ask. In addition to all of these, in addition to this first mock, I will give you 3 additional mocks. These additional marks are based on the questions from the past papers. These are on the basis of the paid mock that ACCA gives. Some student performed it, they gave it to me, and I have scrutinized it and I have put it into the quiz form so that the students do not have to pay to ACCA to perform this. Just an added practice. If you want to do that, maybe those are the latest one, but up until now, students have not complained that the questions were outdated. Okay, this is the whole package for you to study. This will be our whole strategy of attempting the paper. Remember, content is half the battle. Remember my words. Content is half the battle. If you have studied the content and you are sure that I understand this and you do not practice MCQs, then you cannot pass the paper. That's it. You cannot pass the paper because attempting MCQs is a separate practice. There are a number of ways in which one concept can be tested. So the more you practice the MCQs, the better your chances are of clearing the paper and getting good marks. So I have divided the course in equal parts. Like we will study content and we will practice, and then you will have the revision time. So I've designed the paper, this syllabus for you in such a way that you will have at least 1 month or at least 20 days and maybe 1 month for you to revise your paper before attempting the paper. And obviously, it is up to you when you attempt the paper. In BT level, it is at every level, it's not an issue. So this is the whole area, this is the whole strategy that we are going to discuss. Okay. So this was all the background and my strategy, how I intend to take you through the syllabus and the course and how I intend to prepare you for your final examination. Now, we will just have a brief break. It's okay, say a 10 minutes break so that you can fresh up. When I say that, I give you a break because this is all theory. Students get bored because of the continuous discussion, and sometimes it is difficult to further understand. So during the lecture, I give brief breaks. And when I give break, get up from your seats, even if you are not tired, move around, drink some water, check your mobile, do something for that time, and then come back. You will feel that the next time and the next session is better for you. You're able to better understand it. Okay. Now the forum is open. Uh, we will have a 10 minutes break. During this time, if you have any questions, write in the chat section. After that, move around and let's get back together after 10 minutes, and then we will start. If there are any questions, I'll discuss that. If not, then we will move on to our first chapter, that is business organization. Okay. Okay, I don't see any questions. There must be some. Anything that is in your mind, you may please ask. Okay, so we will start with our first chapter. Its name is Business Organization. The very first thing that you need to remember is, even though in business and technology, or rather throughout your ACCA certification, most of the time you would be studying about the business organization. By business organization, we mean an organization that is aimed at earning profit. The main objective is that of profit. But along with that, you will also study about the organizations that are not formed for profit. Their basic aim is not profit. What do you think could be some other aims for an organization? If not profit, what are they working for? Any ideas? If they do not want to have profit, what else could be there to work for? Any ideas? Anyone? Could there be any other purpose for an organization to work for, if not profit? You could write in the main chat section, or you can send to me a message privately as well. No problem. Yes, expansion is part of an entity's objectives, but expansion in itself could be based on the profits. Something else that is totally different from profits. Like profit is the money that you have, that you've earned above your expenses. Like if I'm making something, I will incur some cost on that, and when I sell that thing, if I get more money than I spent on it, that is my profit. So what could other reasons for an organization to work for? Let me give you an example. Is there any organization in your area that works for the betterment of health, or education, or a blood donation organization? Is there any type of blood donation organization in your area? Definitely would be. Yes. So, what do they do? Their basic purpose is not to make money. Remember, there is a difference. I'm not saying that an organization would work without finances, without money. It's not the idea. What is the major objective? I'll give you a very, very simple example to differentiate between these two. For example, I am teaching at the moment. I am spending my time. I have my resources on which I have incurred some expenses. I'm using my internet, electricity. All of these are my costs or expenses. And in return, I will get my money from, like, you paid the fee, and I will get my salary from the academy. The difference between these two is my earning or my profit, like whatever I've spent on this, all the equipment, etc., my time, and then whatever I get in return. But suppose I am teaching the same subject to my nephew and I'm not taking any money. I'm still incurring some expenses. I'm still using my resources. I'm still using my time. I'm still using my efforts, but I'm not getting any financial rewards in return. So I'm not making any profit, but still I'm working for it. So there must be a reason. That it could be social obligation, that I want him to prosper, whatever the reason could be. The point I'm trying to make here is that organizations are made not for just for profit. There are other organizations which do not work for profit. We will touch upon this in detail. But what is this word organization that we are saying again and again? Now, subconsciously, we would know what is an organization. But here, we need to have a proper definition. And from that definition, the whole syllabus is coming out of that small definition. Now, remember, this is social sciences. These, whatever we are studying, these are social sciences in as opposed to natural sciences like physics, chemistry, biology. Those are physical sciences, natural sciences. These are social sciences related to human beings. In social sciences, there is never a definitive or definite definition. Many people see things differently and they give their own definitions to things. So, out of those definitions, we have chosen one, and that is what we are going to discuss here. The definition is such: an organization is a social arrangement which pursues collective goals, which controls its own performance, and has a boundary. According to this definition, there are four elements which, when fulfilled, make an organization. The first is the social arrangement. Social arrangement, the word social itself tells us that it is made up of human beings, social beings, human beings. So this means if in a room there are 5 or 10 robots working, we cannot call it an organization based on this definition. From any other definition, maybe, but from this definition, that's not an organization because it is not a social arrangement. And the word arrangement tells you at least two. So there should be at least two people to make an arrangement. One person cannot be an arrangement. Two people. So by this definition, for an organization, we need to have at least two individuals, two human beings. There could be more, but at least two, which have which pursue collective goals. This is the second thing we are going to discuss. Now, what does it mean, collective goals? When we see there are at least two people, these two people will have their own goals or targets. What do they want? They would want individually something, and they both together may want the same thing as well. Along with it, in order to explain the concept, I will give you the example of this class. Number one, like I'm the teacher here, you are the students. I am a human being, you are human beings. Is this a social arrangement? Yes. At the moment, we are not talking about physical distance. We are talking about the definition. First requirement is that of social arrangement. Is this a social arrangement? Yes. Please write in your chat section if you do not understand or if you do not agree to it, and then give me your point and I'll explain it. So I am a human being, you are a human being, at least two. We are at the moment about six people here. So this is a social arrangement. So first condition is fulfilled. Let's come to the second discussion. Do we have collective goals? Let's discuss. Yes, we have collective goals, but we have individual goals as well. And this gives a very important area. What is my individual goal? Individual goal. My individual goal could be salary. My individual goal could be reputation. My individual goal could be prospering. My individual goal could be using my time for something productive. These are my individual goals. What is your individual goal for being in this class? You want to pass your BT examination. Why are you doing that? Because you want to do ACCA. Why? Because now some people would say we want to earn money. Some people would say that my father has a business and I want to help him in that business. That's why I'm doing ACCA. Some students would say that we just want to learn it as a new qualification. We already have another qualification or job, but we like it. We want to study it. So personal satisfaction. There could be a number of reasons. Those are all individual reasons. What's wrong with the individual reasons? Suppose I am only focused on my individual goal, individual target. For example, I want to earn money. If I'm only focused in this, what will happen to this organization, our class? If I'm only focused on this, I will teach you and I'll tell you I am getting money for this 1 hour only, and I am available during this 1 hour only, or for this session, for example, this is a 2.5 hour session. I'm only available to you during this 2.5 hour session because I'm paid for only 2.5 hours. Do not ask me questions afterwards. If you have any question, wait for 1 week, and then when we start the next class, then you can ask the questions. Who will suffer? Students will suffer because I am only focusing on my individual. Now, compared to it, the collective goals. What is common between your goal and my goal? We all of us want all the students to succeed in their BT paper in first attempt. This is our collective goal. Remember, when we say collective goal, it does not mean that the individual goals are nullified. No, they are just subordinate to the collective goals, meaning if the collective goals are achieved, the individual goals will also be achieved. And this is called goal congruence. Goal congruence means collective goals to be superior to the individual goals. Later on, we will study this to be one of an important reason for failure of an organization if the individuals think their goals are more important than the organizational goals. Then they will be working towards their own goals only, and the organization goals will not be achieved, or at least they will be achieved with high difficulty. So, excuse me. As executives, your job will be to create a culture in the organization where everybody in the organization puts the organizational goals ahead of their individual goals. So, because it is not possible to achieve collective goals without a goal congruence, therefore, we have given this as a important feature of the organization. This does not mean that people in the organization will not have individual goals. They may, but the collective goal should be of higher importance. Now, coming to the third point, controls. At this time, for understanding the concept of control, you should remember these words: check and balance. Later on, we will study in detail what controls are, but at the moment, you should understand that organization is such a social arrangement which at one end has its collective goals, and then they have a mechanism to keep an eye on their performance, to check and balance their performance. They know when to do what. If something is going out of track, out of their planning, how to bring it back. This is very, very important. Now, let me give you an example, and you will tell me which methodology, which strategy do, do you think is good or is a better one to achieve or has the higher probability of achieving the targets. There are two organizations, say organization A and organization B. Both have set their targets for the year, say 12 million pounds sale. This is their sales target, that they want to achieve sales target of 12 million. They have full year, that is starting from January to December. Okay. There is another organization, B, that is the same target, 12 million, and they also have 1 year from January to December. The difference is that the people in the first organization, they start working in January, they keep on working, they work, and in December they check how much of the targets they have achieved. B, on the other hand, they check their targets after every few months. For example, in the month of March, then June, then October, and then December. And they have split this 12 million into further categories. For example, they say here should have 3 million achieved, again up till this 6 million achieved, 9 million achieved, and when a year ends, we would have achieved 12 million. Which strategy do you think, take a minute or so, which business do you think has more chances of achieving their targets, and why? Which of these two businesses have more chances of achieving their targets, and why? I'll give you a minute or two to type in your answers. Yes, good. Got one answer, got two answers. B, very good. Anyone else would like to share their ideas? Yes, another one. Excellent. Very good. So generally you have the idea. This means that it is always better that when we set a target, we have a mechanism to check our progress and balance, means adjust accordingly. Now, just an idea that you see whenever you check your targets, whenever you should do that, whether you do it at the year end or whether you do it during the year, there are three possibilities. Either you have met your target, or you are less than your target, and or you are more than your target. If you have achieved the target or you are going ahead of the target, that's a good thing. But if you are less than the target, you have not achieved it, do you have time to cover it? Now you set a target in A for 12 million, and at the end you are checking. Now there is a possibility that you achieved it, fine. There is a possibility you went ahead of that, fine. But what if you are less than that? You do not have time. The time is over. Your 1 year is over, and you do not have time to cover the deficiencies. Whereas in B, when they check here at 3 million, the same thing will apply, whether they have achieved it, whether they are more than it, or whether they are less than it. If they are equal or more, fine. But if they are less than it, their time is still left. They can still cover that deficiency up. For example, they achieve 2 million. So they are 1 million lagging behind. They can cover it up in the next session, or the next, or the next. So this means that whenever there is a bigger task ahead of you, you divide it into smaller targets, and then you keep an eye on how much have you achieved. Again, this does not apply to the organizations only. This applies to you as well. You have a full course of business and technology, 24 chapters. Now, when we are going, we have checkpoints. What is R? I said this is our organization. How do we control our performance? I will give you the test. That is the checkpoint. When I give you the test, you attempt it, and I will know that how much of the course have you understood. I mean, when you attempt the test and after that you will be given your answers. If you do not understand a question, you will ask me, sir, this is the answer. I chose this, but the answer is B. Why? And I will be able to tell you. So this is how we are controlling our own performance. Finally, the last point is that of the boundary. Now, for boundary, there are two things that you need to remember. Just give me a minute. Boundary could be physical boundary or a virtual boundary. It could be a physical boundary or a virtual boundary. Physical boundary means the room walls. Imagine, had this been a physical classroom, you were in a college and I was teaching you in front of you, the classroom walls would be our boundary for this class. Similarly, if you are working in an organization, the building in which the office is there, that is your physical boundary. But in our case, this class that is going on right now, where is the boundary? It does not have a physical boundary because it is on the internet. But it does have a virtual boundary. Virtual boundary also is known as identity. Identity is something that separates you from other people. Like, for example, if we assign a class code to this class, for example, we say this is HABT1. Now, whenever there is a class going on, we give an announcement that HABT1, this class will not be held today, or this class will be held with a delay of half an hour because the teacher is not well or the teacher is caught in an emergency. If this is shared in the main group of Hamzah Academy, only you will respond to it because you identify yourself to be part of this group, this organization. Rest of the people, they would know that we are not talking to them. So this is the identity, or this is the boundary. So a physical boundary and a virtual boundary. Based on this definition, are we an organization? Yes. Let's summarize it. How are we an organization? We are a social arrangement. I as a teacher, you as students, this is a social arrangement. Do we have collective goals? Yes. To pass BT in the first attempt, this is our collective goal. Do we have individual goals? Yes, we do. But we have kept our collective goals at a higher point than our individual goals, and that is called goal congruence. Everybody is working towards the same goal. Do we have any mechanism to control our performance? Yes. The teacher has designed the mechanism. The mechanism is the course plan. The mechanism is the examination and test that we will conduct throughout the course. Do we have a boundary? Yes. We do not have a physical boundary, but we do have an identity and which tells us that this is the class that we are uh, in. So this, by definition, is an organization. Okay. So any any questions so far? If something is not clear to you, may please ask, or if you are clear, write clear or no questions in the chat section, and then I'll move forward to the next portion. Okay. I'll clear the screen out and then we'll move on to the next point. Okay. Up until now, we have not talked about business. We are only talking about an organization. And as I told you earlier, these could be for profit organization or not for profit organization. Now we will move a little bit further and we will discuss about the business organization. An organization which has an activity of and buying and selling with the aim of earning profit. Usually, these organizations which only buy products and then sell them for a profit, these are called trading organizations, or in some way, these are called commercial organizations. Commercial word is also used for profit as well. So, this has dual meaning. It can also be said as an organization or an economic system where goods and services both are known collectively as products. Goods are tangible. Tangible means they have physical existence. Services are intangible, means they do not have physical existence. Can anyone give me an example of a service? An example of a service. Something that does not have a physical existence, still it is bought and sold. Anyone? Uh, Seshna, free education. Why have you said free? Education could be, or teaching could be a service. Why free? Remember, when we say free, then it is not a product. When you're talking about a product, it needs to be of some price. The price has to be there. Anyway, this is a technical difference. You need not to remember it, but still, okay, fine. Education, you can say teaching is a service. What other service do you know of? Anyone? Hairdressers, very good. There are plenty of services available. What else? Who do you see when you get ill? Doctors, that's a service. Who do you see when you want to construct a house or a building? An architect, architecture, that's a service. Who would you see if you want to have your business analyzed? Chartered accountants, that's a service. So all of these are services. If you look around, taxi driver, web designer, musician, all of these are services. We'll talk about this in a later part of our course in detail. Okay. Then a business is an organization or enterprising entity. Enterprising means that is conducting some kind of activity, some risk-taking activity, engaged in commercial, industrial, or professional activities. Commercial again means trading, buying and selling. Industrial means production or manufacturing. Industrial, in by this definition, industrial could include farmers, it could include factories that are making different types of products, or bridge construction, road construction, all of these could be in the industrial area. Professional services, just like I gave you some example, chartered accountants, lawyers, doctors, engineers, these are all professional activities. So all of these must have an element of getting profit. If there is no profit ambition, no profit intimation, then that cannot be considered as a business, and that will be some not for profit organization. For example, a charity. Charity is an organization where people donate funds, and then that charity works on some social cause. For example, they provide education to the people who cannot afford education, or they provide health services to people who do not have the facility of do not have enough money to get health facilities. Suppose they have constructed a hospital where free health services are given. So those type of, so their aim is not profit. They will need money, they will need finances, but the objective is not to earn profit out of it. Now, a very basic question arises: what is the purpose of making the organization? Why can't an individual work all by himself? The reason is that individuals have varying levels of needs and wants. And all of the needs and wants that people have, they cannot achieve that all by themselves. For example, I want to teach. For that, I need the laptop. I cannot make a laptop on my own. I need internet. I cannot provide the services all by myself. I need electricity. I cannot generate it all by myself. Maybe you come across an idea, you come across a person who is self fulfilled, meaning whatever he needs he produces. But number one, that will be in a far flung area with very limited needs and wants. And secondly, there are exceptions in this world. So, for example, if you say that, sir, I have a cousin who lives in a distant village and he does not work anywhere, he has a little farm and he produces whatever he wants and he is happy. Okay, fine, that is possible. I'm not saying it's impossible, but this is highly unlikely. This is an exceptional point. This Some people are happy with their lives, they are fulfilled. Fine, no problem. But what about the rest of the world? The rest of the world, they need to integrate. They need to discuss things with each other. They need to share their ideas. They need the funds to achieve more and more. So here is the different needs of the organization. People want to share their skills and knowledge. They want to create a specialized environment. Okay, let's discuss about specialization a little bit, and it goes for further for standardization, which will come in later part of our course. Specialization is when you have a large task and you divide it into smaller portions, and then you give each person a specific task to achieve. For example, A is performing this, B is performing this, C is performing this, D is performing this, and E is performing this task. A very simple example for this. Suppose your whole task is AFD. This is the AFD area. This is whole AFD. These are the subjects. Don't you think any one teacher can teach you all the subjects? Yes, they can. For example, another teacher who is teaching you financial accounting could also teach you management accounting, could also teach you business technology. It's possible. But what we have done, or what specialization wants, that divide all the main target, that is AFD, into smaller subjects. For example, this is FA1, this is FA2, this is MA1, MA2, BT for now. Okay. So let's say teacher 1A will teach you FA1 and FA2. Teacher B will teach you MA1 and MA2. And teacher C will teach you BT. What we have done, we have divided a big task into smaller tasks and assigned individuals those tasks. Now, for example, I am teaching you whole AFD. I am teaching you financial accounting, management accounting, as well as BT. I have given number of hours in a day. If I am preparing practice MCQs, I will have to prepare for each and every subject, all the subjects, all by myself. So the quality that I will be producing will be less as compared to a teacher who is only producing MCQs for financial accounting, or I'm only focused in BT. Now, how does this help the organization? When we have specialists who are focusing on one particular task, with the time they come to know what is the problem that they have been facing, what is the possible solution. For example, I told you I've been teaching these subjects for about 15 years now. Over the years, I know that which topic needs more time, which topic needs less time, which topic is understood easily by the students, which topic at which time needs more time and more examples. Now, what does this do? This enhances my ability to teach. It enhances the understanding of the students, hence getting the good results. And at the same time, I'll be using less of the time, less of the resources, wastages will be reduced. So specialization has different benefits. One, the quality of output will increase. Number two, the number of wastage or the amount of wastages will be reduced. Both of things will reduce the cost or increase the revenue for the organization. Then pooling of resources. Resource means it is the means to achieve ends. Ends means goals. All the things that we need to reach our goal. For example, the people, machinery, money, time, everything that we need to achieve our goal is called the resource. Okay. Related to this is the concept of synergy. When people start working together, this is the definition of synergy. When people start working together, the effect of combined efforts. When they are working together on a task, this is the combined effort, where the total result is greater than the sum of individual efforts. People who are working individually on a one bigger task, that will give them some results. But if you sum that up, that will be less. But if they work collectively, they will produce more. Simple example for you. Suppose you have a small manufacturing unit where you manufacture furnitures, and you have Mr. A, B, C, and D. These are four people who are carpenters and they are working for you. Imagine the your small business unit. There is a store where all the raw wood is available, timber we call it, and then you have a manufacturing area, then you have a polishing area, and then you have a packing area in the store. Initially, each of them have to make furniture from start to finish. For example, they are making chairs. Each of them has to go to the store, get the timber or the raw wood, clear it out, manufacture a chair out of it, polish it and color it, and then put it in the store, pack and put in the store. Everyone has to do from start to finish the whole task. So in the day end, Mr. A produces suppose 4 chairs, Mr. B produces 5 chairs, Mr. C produces 1 chair, and Mr. D also produces say 5 chairs. So how many total have you produced? 20 chairs, sorry, 15 chairs in total. With what? This is the individual efforts. This is their individual efforts. Remember, there is no specialization. There is a broad specialization that everyone is specialized in making chairs. There is no further concentrated or focused uh, specialization. Now, what do? You create specialization. For example, you say that this process of making chairs is going through 4 stages: one, two, three, and four. For example, the first stage is bringing the uh, wood and cutting it. The second is joining it. Third is polishing it. And fifth is packing and storing it. Now you tell A that you do only task one. Do not make the whole chair. Only do the task one. Bring the wood and cut it. Hand it over to two. What will two do? Hand it over to B. He will do the second task time and again. What is that? Joining and creating the wood. Then hand it over to the third person, C, who will polish it. And then hand it over to the fourth person, D, who will pack it, who will ready it up, pack it, and put it in the final store. Now consider three. What is he doing? He's polishing. Now he's focused on one task only. He will know where is the polish wasted, what is the better way of polishing. After 2 or 3 attempts, he will know how to increase the output amount wise, quality wise. Also, he will know where to reduce the wastages. How, what method should we use which will use less of the paint and polish? Which method should I use which will waste less of our time? What will be the eventual result after a week or so? Individually, first you were preparing 15 chairs. After this combined effort, you will be preparing greater than 15. How much? That is another question. That is the actually the trick part or actual focus. Organizations would want to increase this output more and more. The daily output would want more and more. But this is the first step. The more they work on their specialization, the more training they give, the more incentives, the more um, other factors that we will study later on, the more they provide, the better their production will become. But this is the least we know, that whatever they produce, that will be better than their individual efforts. And this concept is called as synergy. So the effect of combined efforts, where the total result is greater than the sum of individual efforts. This is known as synergy. Okay. Now, with this, we'll take a short 5 minutes break. And if you have again any question, you may please ask. And after that, we will return to our next section. Okay, as there are no questions, I'll move forward. A brief topic of the objectives or the goals of a business organization. Remember, we are only focusing on profit seeking organizations at the moment. Those who do not seek profit, they are working for some social cause. That part will come later on. Okay, what is there are four basic objectives that an organization which wants to earn profit has. Obviously, the primary one is that of the profit. They want to increase their revenue and reduce their cost. They would want to try both at the same time, even though this is highly difficult. So they focus on one. Either they increase their revenue or they decrease their costs. Second is the expansion or growth, meaning they have one outlet, they want to have two and three and four over the passage of time. They have one factory, they would want to have more and more. So expansion is also another important thing. Then is the increase in owner's wealth. Now, how is it different from profit? You see, as finance students, you should be able to differentiate between the word profit and the word wealth. It will clear with a very simple example. Suppose I bought a piece of land worth $1,000. That was back in, say, 2020, year 2020. What is the year now? 2025. Over these 5 years, the price of land has increased and now it is worth, say, $1,200. What is my profit? Anyone? Does anyone have any idea? I'll repeat my question and you have to focus on the words. I bought a piece of land in 2022, it was worth $1,000. Now is 2025 and the price of that piece of land is now $1,200. What is my profit? Okay. So the usual mistake that the students will do is to say that this is 1,200 minus 1,000, so 200 is my profit. Remember, that's not the profit. Profit will incur when I sell this out. I have not said that I've sold it out. I've only said that the price has increased. So it is my property, its price has increased, so my wealth has increased. I have not sold it. Suppose if I keep it for next 5 years, say 2030, by then its price suppose is going up to 1,500. Now, am I making more profit? No, this is my wealth increasing. Suppose in 2030 I sell it out. Then I can say that 1,500 is my revenue minus this was my cost. So revenue minus cost would be 500. At that time, I can say that this is my profit. Up until then, it is only increasing my wealth. So expansion and increase in wealth, these go hand in hand. When you increase your capacity, when you increase your buildings, your furniture, your business, you are also increasing owner's wealth. Then increase in market share. Here, I would like to define the word market first, and then what is market share. Usually, when we say the word market, we think of some place, a place where things are bought and sold. Technically, market is not a place, it is a situation. It could be a physical place and it could not be a physical place. Situation where there are four factors available: a product, its price, a buyer, and a seller. Wherever these four factors are available, that is called a market. Now, this our situation, me teaching you, is this a market? Yes, it is. Why? What is the product? Teaching. I told you earlier, service is a product. Teaching is the product. Price, the fee that you will pay. Buyer, students are the buyer. Seller, I or Hamzah Academy are the sellers. So this is not confined to physical boundary. This is a market share. So you need to understand the definitions. Like when you are in a certain environment or certain profession, there are certain specific words which may have different meanings in English, but they have specific meaning in that particular area. So in business, you need to understand these basic terminologies. Now, coming to the market share. What is a market share? Market share is the share of sales of one company in the total sales of a market. For example, let's say I have this mobile phone, and in my area, there are four companies that are selling mobile phones: A, B, C, and D. A's total sales are, say, 5 million in 1 year. B's total sales are 3 million in 1 year. This one has 2 million in 1 year, and this one has 10 million in 1 year. I'm giving you simple figures so that you understand the basic concept. Okay, what is the total sales of mobile phones in this market? What is this market? This is a market of mobile phones based on the product, not on the area. Maybe wherever the shops are, there are other factors, there are other products are being sold, but we are focusing on the mobile phones. So the total sales are 20 million. Now we calculate the percentages. What is the percentage of D in this total sales? 50%, so on and so forth. So what is the market share of D? That is 50%. What is the market share of A? 25%. Now, who is the market leader? Who has more share of the market, the largest share of the market? But will A be satisfied? No. It will be striving to increase their market share by capturing the market share of the others, attracting the customers to themselves. That is also an objective, one of the objectives of the business organizations. Moving on, there are certain key terms that you need to understand in an organization, some common features. Now, this portion you will not find specifically in Kaplan book, but this is from the study hub, so you will be able to understand it. Stakeholders, any organization or business organization for that matter, they do not work in a vacuum. They have different people interacting with them, different entities, different organizations, different entities interacting with them, dealings with them. So these stakeholders are entities which affect or get affected by an organization, whether that effect is a positive one or a negative one. I repeat, a stakeholder is any entity that is affected or affects the organization positively or negatively. For example, customers, how do they affect businesses? They purchase our products. Suppliers, they sell us their products. Regulators means government agencies that make laws. They affect us. If that is a harsh law, that will affect us negatively. If it's a good law, it will affect us positively. Employees, they perform different activities for us. So if we have skilled employees, we will benefit from them. Unskilled, we will not benefit from them. So one way or the other, they affect us. So this stakeholder word you need to remember. Assets, the capital, the assets that we have. Now remember, in accounting, the asset is not capital. Capital is in the liability side, asset is on the other side. In generally, asset is everything that the business owns, and liability is everything that the business owes. Owns mean that is its property. Owes mean it is an obligation. It has to give it back to somebody. Operating environment, in the environment, I told you that businesses, they operate in a dynamic environment, ever changing environment. Something is always changing. Some other competitor is coming in, some is going out. Government is making different laws. People's thoughts and things are changing. New technology is coming all the time. So all of these things affect the business. This is a complete segment that we will study in our course: political factors, economic factors, social factors, technological factors, environmental or ecological factors, legal factors. All of those laws that are made, how do they affect business positively or negative? Okay. This broad area will be our last topic of discussion for today: types of business organizations, or sorry, types of organizations. Whenever we say types, it is based on something, it is based on some criteria. See, for example, if I tell you types of human beings, so you may ask me, on what basis? Should I divide them on the basis of gender? Should I divide them on a basis of their age groups? Should I divide them on the basis of the style of living, the area they live in, urban or rural area, according to their income levels, according to their color of the skin? What is the criteria? So there has to be a criteria when we are talking about the types of the organization. So we will discuss according to those types. First is commercial, or this is based on the profits. Some organizations will be which will be commercial, or they are profit seeking. These are also known as businesses. Some other organization which do not have. So one category in this type is those who seek profit, and the other is who do not seek profit. So profit seeking organization or not for profit organization, these are also known as NFPOs. In the next session, next Monday, we will discuss in detail about these. So profit for profit organization and not for profit organization. Second category is public versus private sector organizations. Now here the keyword is the sector. Remember this, because later on we will be studying the types of companies, and there it will be different. Sector means the sector of economy. For example, this is the whole country, whole sector, whole activities in the business, economic activities. Some of those activities are run by the government. Some of the organizations are administered, are under the control of the government. These are called public sector. Here the word public does not mean people. Here it means organization, government. Public sector organization. So defining word is sector here. All those that are not run by government, that is called private sector, and these are run by private people, private individuals, private entities, and companies. We'll discuss it later on. Remember one thing: all the activities in the government sector, at least in the books, are not for profit. Government does not work for profit. Government works for the social cause, for the social benefit of the people. Remember this idea. So their aim is not to earn profit. Then non-governmental organization. These are the organizations who do not want profit, nor are they in the government sector. Meaning, these are the not-for-profit organizations in private sectors. Non-governmental shows that it is not in the public sector, and the same name shows that it is not a profit seeking. Business will always be private sector. So if there is a business, it will always be private sector. But if it is a non-business, it depends. If it is a public sector, then it is run by government. If it is an NGO, non-governmental organization, it will be in private sector, but it will be a not-for-profit. For example, charities. For example, trusts, donations, donation funds. These are all non-governmental organizations. Then there is a concept of cooperatives. Now, this concept is not tested in detail, sorry, not discussed in detail in your course, but because it is mentioned, so we have to cover that up as well. Cooperatives per se are neither for profit nor not for profit by default. Like business is by default for profit. You cannot say that this is a not for profit seeking business. It's not like that. If it is a business, it will be for profit. We cannot say that this charity is a profit charity. No, if it is a charity, it must be not for profit. But when we say cooperatives, it depends on its members. Members are people who start the cooperative. Cooperatives, the basic idea is uh, cooperation between people. Imagine a village where there is quite a big area for agriculture, and there are, say, 10 farmers, main people who have that area with them. Every one of them individually goes to the nearby market and purchases the seeds, fertilizers, and things like that, which are required for cultivation and agriculture. They will incur some costs. What if they get together and they think that we all of us need the same type of seeds, all of us need the same type of fertilizers? Why not to pool our resources, get together, instead of going to the local nearby market? Why not to go to the main market and to the wholesaler? Now the wholesaler will sell us the products with lesser per unit price, for example, lesser per bag, per kg, because it is a simple rule in business. Remember this: whenever you buy in bulk, whenever you buy in large quantities, the per unit price will reduce. Remember, per unit price, not the total price. For example, say if I have to buy sugar, 1 kg sugar, I'll go to the nearby grocery shop and I'll buy sugar. For example, I get it for, say, per kg is for 2 pounds. Suppose my need is small, I only need 1 kg that goes for 1 month. Fine, that is good for me. But what if somehow I need more? I need, suppose, 40 kgs. Suppose I've started a business, I need 40 kgs. I would not go to the nearby market. I'll try to go to the wholesaler who may give it to me for 1.5 pounds per kg. Now remember, I will multiply it still with 20. The total price will be more, but I am looking at the per unit price. So this is a simple rule, and this rule is known as economies of scale. Whenever you are increasing your requirement, the per unit price that you have to pay, that will be, or per unit cost, that will be reduced. Now, coming back to the agriculture example, all of these 10 farmers get together, they make a list. I need this much kgs of seed. He says that I need this much kgs of seeds and fertilizers and everything. Then they skip the nearby seller and they go to the, one of them goes to the main supplier, main market, or maybe even the main supplier, main producer, or main factory, and they buy in bulk. When they buy in bulk and bring it, then and then divide accordingly, according to the list that they prepared. But now, what is the benefit? The per unit price, the per kg price of fertilizer, the per kg price of the seeds is reduced. So this is the benefit of cooperatives. I've given you a very basic example of this. Now, this cooperative can be used as a business, meaning for profit. It can be used just for that cooperation. It depends on the members. Now, and distinguishing point, there is a distinguishing point. For that, I will give you a glimpse of the next topic. We study that, but it is related to cooperatives. That's why I'm saying it here. According to the, now we are studying the types of organization. This is based on different factors. Another factor will be based on the ownership. Who is or how many are the owner? There are three broad categories. I will discuss two at the moment. Sole trader, when the owner is only one person, he may have different employees, but if he is the only one person who owns the organization, whatever his decision is, that goes. Obviously, he does not have to ask anybody. His decision is final. But when there are two or more owners, that is called a partnership. So now, can anyone make a decision on their own? No. it depends on their mutual understanding. For example, one person is bringing money, the other person is bringing skills. Then it is up to them. Maybe they say, okay, we will have one vote each. Maybe the one with the finance says, no, I will have two votes, and the one with the skill will have one vote. That is also allowed. Suppose one is bringing 2 million pounds, the other is bringing 3 million pounds, and they say we have equal votes, fine, no problem. It depends on them, whatever they decide in partnership. In cooperatives, it does not matter which person is contributing how much or what. Every member will have one vote for decision. So, for example, if in a cooperative, one farmer says, I will get 20 bags of fertilizer. The other says, my land is small, I will get only 2 bags of fertilizer. They have, he has less investment than the other. But when it comes to the decision making time, each of them will have one vote. For this, you will see in your book, the term used is used as cooperatives are democratically controlled by their members. Means regardless of the amount of investment, every person will have one vote. So, in summary, there are two areas. Cooperatives could be for profit or may not be for profit. Who decides? The members decide. Then, how do members decide? It depends on their per head count. One person, one vote, regardless of the type of investment. Okay. So, with this, we will just let me check. Yes. With this, we'll come to the close of our today's session. First of all, I'll upload the resources, the Kaplan book and the Kaplan kit on the portal. And whenever you get properly enrolled, you can access those resources from there. At the end of every chapter, I'll also upload these slides on there for you to download. And with the help with that, you will have your Kaplan book from which you will study and you will perform MCQs. The chapter and MCQs will be performed at the end of this chapter in the next week. So, with this, we have come to the close of our today's session. If you have any questions or queries, you may please ask in chat, whatever questions you may have. Or otherwise, if you have no questions, then we will close today's session. Thank you very much. Take care and goodbye for those who do not have any questions. Does any student have any questions? You may please ask, or otherwise, we will end today's session.